We've got a job to do, so shift your carcass.
Hi friends, welcome to the first Everyone Who Cares video review. I've had this idea for a really long time and I wasn't sure how I was going to do it, and honestly I'm recording it right now and I'm still not sure how I'm going to do it, but it is happening and we'll see where it goes. It makes this whole thing a little bit easier knowing that I'm going to be talking about a game that I talk about all the time anyway these days, which is Apex Legends. But before we get into what that game is about and why it's good or bad, it's good, but why it's what it is, I feel like we should probably cover a bit of a history lesson. Most of Respawn formed from people that were Infinity Ward, which is the studio that brought us Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, which, are two shooters that changed the industry forever. Shooters are still designed with principles that they introduced in Call of Duty 4. So due to some business disputes, the people who ran Infinity Ward left Activision, which is a company that publishes the Call of Duty games, and went on and started Respawn Entertainment, which made Titanfall 1, which is the best Xbox One game, probably one of the best launch games on any platform. Right up there with, maybe not up there with Super Mario World, but they're both really good launch games. I would put Titanfall 1 in the top 5. I'm getting off topic. But then they made Titanfall 2. Titanfall 2 is multi-platform, and it is one of the best shooters of the last 5, probably even 10 years, and we should all be ashamed of ourselves that we don't play Titanfall 2 every single day. But all that story is necessary because that is what got us here to Apex Legends. So all this matters to Apex because the second that I started this game, I felt that Respawn feel. Movement in Apex has that same balance between being a twitchy reactionary shooter and having believable momentum and weight to the character that millions of people have come to love since Call of Duty first came out and, love again with Titanfall. Apex is missing Titanfall's wall running and double jumps and obviously the Titans, but it still feels like one of those games, and that's a really good thing. But of course the big difference is that Apex Legends is a battle royale game. It's one of those games, where you start the match by skydiving, you land somewhere on a big old map, scramble around for weapons, and you try to be the last player standing. If you're not aware, games like 2017's PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds and Fortnite Battle Royale, they didn't create the concept, but they more than popularized it. The success of those two games has definitely led to lots of copycat games. But the thing is, if you ask me, none of those games are actually great shooters first. PUBG leans more realistic than Fortnite, but it's telling that even almost 2 years after those servers went live, the developers are still working on a #FixPUBG campaign. And with Fortnite, despite its absurd popularity, it never really felt great to play by the standards of most online shooters. You don't really go to Fortnite if you are a huge Call of Duty fan, because those two games don't feel anything alike. Apex Legends is one of those games where running around just feels kind of awesome. Part of it is the map design, since it's filled with launch points to get you quickly from A to B, slopes to slide down, and high vantage points that you can miss with your zip lines and fall off like an idiot. But the rest really just comes down to the fact that it's made by a team with a history of crafting world-class first-person shooters. The combat is satisfying, and for me personally, it always feels like I can make exactly the move I need to make without a second thought. But aside from just being a shooter, Apex Legends is a battle royale game. So that means it can't just get by on having good shooting controls, it has to make sense within the strict rule set of a battle royale game. You've got Apex, Fortnite, Battlefield's getting Firestorm mode, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 just got Blackout mode, you've got Paladins having a spin-off to Realm Royale, obviously PUBG is in there, that Hunters game, I don't even remember the name of, the cool one with the werewolves and stuff, and there's a lot of battle royale games is my point. So for Apex to stand out, it has to really do something well, and that thing is that Apex has amazing game design. First and foremost is Apex's ping system. The right shoulder button, if you're playing on PS4 or Xbox One, is a context sensitive ping button. If you ping a weapon, then you'll mark that weapon for your allies. If you ping a spot on the map, you'll get a waymark to guide you and your team to that location. If you ping an enemy, you'll tag them and
target over there.
It goes deeper than you might think too. You can open your inventory and ping an attachment slot on your weapon to let a teammate know you're looking for a scope or whatever you might need. You can hold the ping button to bring up a wheel of options and tell your teammates that you're going to say defend the door you're aiming at, or you think you should look over here at this mountain, or whatever messages you might want to get across. But really the best part about the ping system is that it makes Apex Legends work perfectly fine without the need for voice chat, which is a big deal since it's a squad-based game that you always play with other players on your team. The biggest complaint you'll hear from just about anybody that doesn't regularly play online first-person shooters is that they don't want to deal with angry teenagers and bigots online. Apex's ping system lets you enjoy all the tactical fanciness of a great multiplayer shooter, but it doesn't force you to wear a headset. And honestly, even when I'm in voice chat with friends, we still use pings all the time. That pinging system wouldn't be nearly as effective as it is, though, if it wasn't for the game's fantastic sound design. Sound design is one of those things that's really easy to ignore in most games, and it's really easy to miss how well Apex uses it, but it does a great job of using the sounds to keep you aware of what's going on in the fight. In this clip, my team is working to finish off the last member of a squad, and then another squad shows up across from us in the same area. None of us are in voice chat, but the game basically tells us everything that we need to know anyway with no mics. So let's walk through this exchange with the sound on. So you've got this line here where my character lets the party know there's a zip line we can take to this base.
Zip line here.
And then obviously you can hear all the gunshots as we get close to the base. And now my teammate over there just tagged enemies, so I know which teammate it is because I can hear the character who's saying it, and then I also get the little marker on screen telling me where these enemies are. I don't know if you could hear that because there's a lot of other stuff going on, but she said she's popping the chimney. That's one of that character's abilities where she has a smoke grenade, so now I know she's doing that, even if I wasn't looking at it, I would still be able to tell. Now I know that one of my allies is healing, so that tells me, hey, I don't want to jump in this fight right now because it's just going to be me. And now they marked above us, which is a really cool thing because they know that I have Pathfinder as my character, so I can set a zip line to get us from here to where the person just marked.
Ready to fly on a zip line.
And then Pathfinder says what he says to let people know there's a zip line ready. In this particular case, I only located this guy because I could tell where he was shooting from. And actually, I can tell which gun he's using too. That's a longbow because that's how longbows sound.
Reloading. Good job, me. Whole squad down.
That line there lets me know. So we killed that guy and he's dead, which means he was the last person left in his squad. And then my character gave a call out to let the rest of the team know who maybe didn't see this guy go down that now that's one squad dead. That means the other guys shooting at us are another squad.
Contact with hostile.
And then that's me tagging that person that was shooting at me.
Hostile, my marker.
Giving my shields a recharge.
Now they know there's an enemy over there because I marked them before I went down to heal, and then I went to heal, and my character called that out. So again, now people know, hey, our person on the roof can't fight right now because they're healing for the next couple seconds.
Enemy spotted.
And then lastly, you hear Lifeline call out, frag out, which, indicates that she's throwing a grenade, which is great for me because I was about to throw a grenade and I'm terrible at throwing grenades. So useful to know that someone else did. So yeah, situations like this come up in every single match of Apex, and because of thoughtful game design and excellent sound design, it all just blends in. It didn't even really stick out to me until I took a look at Fortnite after playing a whole lot of Apex and realized that it sounds just kind of dead. It's just typical shooter sound effects. Now that dead feel that I get from other shooters, though, is also a result of Apex Legends, or characters. The game has 8 playable characters as of this recording, and even though they all have the same basic movement and shooting controls, each of them brings a unique ability and personality to the game. There's a good amount of dialogue for every character, but what's impressive is that almost everything they have to say contributes to the game in the form of a callout. That goes hand in hand with the ping system, while it also lends the game some variety and some style. We'll see if the Apex cast becomes as beloved as Overwatch's characters and shows up in all the memes and all that stuff, but I know personally I found myself smiling at Pathfinder's lines multiple times since I started playing as him.
That was fun. Sorry you died.
Now, if you're worried that Apex having characters will cause that Overwatch situation of counter picks and ultimates that just wipe out a whole room of people, that's really not a problem in Apex. It's balanced in a way where you're making conscious choices of who you select, but it's never this person's ability is so good that we're just going to lose or win. It's enough that you'll decide on a main and a person that you want to play as usually, but you'll never have a situation where it's oh, we just lost because the other team picked Lifeline or whoever. But there's a lot more going on in Apex's overall design than just pinging and chatty characters anyway. The inventory system, which is crucial in a battle royale game where you're out of the match as soon as you die, is super smart. If you find an attachment on the ground that works for your gun, you can highlight it and that'll let you know that picking it up will automatically equip it. You can carry 2 guns and the game will even auto-equip stuff that you have to the other gun if you find something that works for that one and not for the one that's actually in your hands right now. Or when you have situations like you've got a level 1 shield on and you just found a level 2 shield, you just click on that level 2 shield, it'll replace the one you had on before, and that only works going up, so you'll never like accidentally put on a worse piece of gear. It's just yet another elegant thing about the game's design. It's easy to take for granted because it just feels the way it's supposed to feel. And that's probably the best way I can sum up why Apex Legends is one of the best multiplayer shooters around. It's often said that if something is really streamlined or easy to use, it's probably because somebody worked their butt off to make it feel that way. Apex feels like a game made by people who paid a lot of attention to this genre and to modern games overall. From having a one-button invite system, to the way it shows you who your other teammates are highlighting on the character select screen so you know who they want to pick, to the way that the damage text when you shoot an enemy shows you what level of shield they have on. It's clear that Respawn made this game with like small details in mind, and after putting that much work into a game, they have to get paid somehow, right? Apex is free to play and it has loot boxes like you would expect, but there's also going to be a battle pass system that everyone assumes will work like Fortnite's battle pass system coming in a few weeks. For now, you get a loot box every time you level up and you can pay real money for points to buy more loot boxes if you want to. Before you get all worried, the loot is entirely skins and cosmetic stuff for your characters and there are no duplicates. Instead, some loot boxes will give you crafting materials which you basically just spend on a specific item that you prefer to have. So it's picking and choosing parts from all the free to play models that you've seen in stuff like Fortnite and Overwatch and Battlefield 4 and even like Dota 2, games that aren't necessarily shooters, and combining all those into like a relatively inoffensive package. I've put about 30 hours into Apex, and at no point did I ever feel like the experience was worse because I hadn't put money into it. But that said, I would totally give Respawn the money to play Apex. It's not very often that the thing that's super popular is also really good. I mean, Cardi B won a Grammy last week. Like, many people probably don't think Fortnite is the best Battle Royale game, or even the best Epic game, or even that Fortnite Battle Royale is the best part of the whole Fortnite package, because it is not. So for me personally, my hype for Apex comes from not just that it's a great game, but that it's a super popular game and it feels like it earned that popularity. It's a little bit short on modes, a little bit of a light package, given that it's a free-to-play game that hasn't even been out for a month yet, but Respawn is saying all the right things regarding updates and future content and all that sort of stuff. I would personally like to see a 4-player squad mode since the current game limit is set to 3 players per squad, but we'll see what happens. They'd also have to up the player count for that to work. But what they have right now, I think, is a solid foundation. If they continue with everything they're promising to do, like that game's only going to get better from here, and it's already the best Battle Royale game on the market, having been out for like 3 weeks and a couple days or something like that. And it's free. Like, you can just get games this good for free now. What is video games in 2019? It's ridiculous. Anyway, Apex Legends is out on PC, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4. You can download it right now. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.